Hello beautiful people around the world, welcome again. Looks like I've got a lot of whole new subscribers from Australia, so thank you for watching. I know that these videos, I try to give as much good information as I can, so thanks for commenting, thanks for watching. Three things I want to touch on today. That would be the economy in itself, what's happening on Wall Street, in the market, and also what's coming in leading in the next coming months to, over to 2009 and 2010. First of all, now it's official that a little over 80,000 jobs on Wall Street have now been lost. Fancy that. All these big greedy sort of stockbrokers and mortgage brokers and traders and all sort of stuff, the companies are now going belly up. It's pretty obvious, I know, but there's now officially 80,000 people lost their jobs, told to go elsewhere. Now in this sort of economy, I think that's going to be a bit hard to actually work out where you're going to go and how you're going to find that paycheck. And realistically, as the recession gets worse and leading on into next year, basically it's going to become a worldwide depression. A lot of these guys are going to be struggling and more jobs will be lost. Fancy that. Now just quickly, I want to touch a bit on what's happened just in the last few days. Wall Street actually finished last night, finished up 302 points, basically left the Dow sitting at 11,734, which really meant the stocks actually had their biggest week since April in the upward direction. And there was a lot of things going on. The US dollar had a bit of a rally. Oil really got pummeled last night. It closed at about $115 a barrel. But I mean, there is so much of this choppiness in the market still, and I will focus on something in a second. But there is a lot of trouble at the moment for oil and some of the commodity prices out there, which have been, as you know, skyrocketing. And I mean, I don't really turn on CNBC and Bloomberg or some of the major business channels, because every time you get on there, there's maybe one or two guys that know what they're talking about, but then these other people that are allegedly analysts get on there and just spruik, and it just makes me laugh at the lies that actually comes out of people's mouth. And there's a lot of volatility in the market. Crude oil has actually lost $10 in the last week and down now more than 21% since July. But I think as there's more analysts out there bottom calling, and there's a lot more things, it's like the economy is lying there on life support and the doctors are saying, clear, boop, and they're giving a one last shock just to sort of wake the patient up and rattle it a little bit. But I still think in the short term, from what's happened over the last couple of weeks, yes, there is a little bit of upside potential there in the market, but people still don't realize we're in a bear market. The reason why I think the market has some upside potential in the short term, well, I'll go over and I'll just show you now. We'll do a little bit of charting and I'll show you what's actually been happening over the last few weeks and why I think the market will probably go up in the next few weeks. Okay, so here we are on the chart of the Dow. This is actually basically what's been happening since about May, June, as you can see down here. And realistically, if you do remember, we did have that big downturn from about the middle of May that led us right down until the start of July there. And after that, the market actually flattened out. It's been going upwards to sideways, but what's really interesting for me, and like I said before, made the comment that there is a chance the market could turn up in the next week or so. The reason being, technically, when you have a look at the pattern that has been developing since, I'll probably say about the middle of July, we draw a line, it's called a rising support line from there. The market has actually had these consistent bounces upwards and downwards over the last couple of weeks. Now you see there that basically it's creating here on the bottom there, you had a considerable amount of these higher lows, okay, which means the sentiment of the market is actually pretty positive. But what's interesting enough is across the top we also have a lot of what's called resistance. So the market actually has been bought up to a certain level, then sold off, bought up to a certain level, then sold off, bought up to another certain level, and sold off, all meeting the same, like I said, resistance point. Now, in technical terms, The pattern that we're now looking at on the Dow is actually called an ascending triangle. That whole pattern there is actually an ascending triangle. And I wouldn't be surprised if the market now breaks that level just under the 12,000 level, if it breaks and then shoots upwards. And normally the technical term for that is a breakout. And like I said, in technical terms, those patterns actually work really well if you're investing in individual stock. Now that has mimicked on the Dow, like I said, there is a fair chance for that market to break out of that 11,800 region and shoot back up another maybe 500 points or so. We'll have to see, but I just thought I'd show you that, and it will be actually interesting to monitor that and see where the market heads, next week and the week after that. And there really are a lot of things that are going to affect a lot of people. Like I keep saying, we have not even seen the market have a considerable fall yet. The US dollar will crash. People will continue to lose their jobs. People that are already sick of losing money in the market and investments are going to revolt against paying for tax and being overtaxed on certain things. There's already enough instability in the market, and people can't make ends meet right now. But do you think the taxman and the government are actually going to lower your tax? Of course not. Who has to pay for bailing all these big mortgage companies and brokerage companies out in the first place? It's us. The big guys on Wall Street are criminals. That's what it comes down to. The big guys bailing out the big guys so they can have their expensive houses and swimming pools and cars. And should you be mad? Should you be fed up? Of course you should. There's no reason that this has to happen. It's basically breaking the surface from the poor, the middle class, and the rich. There is now, what on research has been done, that the middle class has now slowly disintegrated. So you're either classed as being very, very wealthy and well off, or very, very poor and a struggler. And I can already see if my predictions on videos earlier this year, that when oil was going to hit an all-time high, which it did a few months back, well, that's changed a whole lot of things. Not only do we have to come up with a whole different range of new inventions that use less oil, or we'll say, for example, online at the moment there's a product that teaches you how to run your car on water. So those sort of things will continue to develop as oil skyrockets and increases in price. What we'll have to do is try to come up with inventions that don't use oil, or use less oil on some of the machinery, or some of the things we are dependent on, i.e. cars and cranes and trucks and all sorts of things. So this new emergence in energy, or so-called green energy, is only just started, and I seriously think that there's a big future that lies ahead in this area. Even if you have an opportunity to invest in those areas, well, I mean, I would go for it. There's a lot of big future ahead in that area as oil increases and the costs for running machinery and that sort of thing increases with it. And green energy is basically here to stay, probably the next booming area, I think, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, people. I enjoy your comments. You can email me at financial911@gmail.com for any questions. Thank you again for watching. Please add your comments below, and remember to subscribe on the right hand side. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Look forward to listening to your comments. Enjoy your day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye.